Welcome back, Disturbed Nerds. This week, we will be talking about Black Panther.
If you guys haven't heard, unfortunately, we have lost one of our own, Chadwick Boseman. He lost his battle to colon cancer. He had been struggling with colon cancer for the past 4 years, and unfortunately, he lost that battle. And when I first heard about it, I want you to know, first of all, everyone under the sun texted me about it. Everyone, okay?
Likewise.
Everyone. And then it was all over Facebook. And at first I was like, please be a joke.
Yeah, I thought it was a hoax too. I was hanging out with another friend when the news came in on my phone. And we were like, okay, did he actually pass away? Or is this one of those hoaxes where celebrities pass away? Because that happens a lot too.
I follow Screen Rant and Comic Book and everything under the sun superhero related. So like every single one of them, like my entire Facebook feed was about him.
Yeah, likewise.
Like my entire feed. And then, like I said, I had everyone under the sun send me a message like, Keely, did you hear? I was like, no, I did hear. And I did. I really hoped it was a lie and it was a hoax, because then I could be pissed off at someone for doing that, and now I'm sad. And
of course, respects to his family.
Yeah, our hearts go out to his family and his friends, those people who were close to him and loved him and helped him through that rough time. And I was on Facebook and someone's like, no one knew, the fans didn't know. And I was like, the fans didn't need to know. That's just my personal thought, was just like,
it's his personal life. We don't need to know everything about them.
No, the people who were the most important to him, his family and his friends, his loved ones, they knew. That's the important part. We don't need to know everything about celebrities' personal life. And the fact that he still continued on with his career and his making movies and everything was he was very strong man.
That he was. The fact that he was able to bring us T'Challa as a character and provide such a strong person to the role, even when there were probably days where he didn't feel strong, is just absolutely immaculate.
Exactly. And he did it because he loved his job and he loves his fans, and I think that's just extremely powerful. I don't know if you ever watched some of the interviews with him. Chadwick Boseman was just a very genuine, sweet man. Like, I've only watched a few, but he just seemed really sweet. And I think when it comes to being a fan, when you find out that your celebrity, that you're like an actor or anything, is like a jerk, well, it doesn't take away from their role or anything. It kind of is like, oh, they're a jerk.
Amber Heard.
Yeah, like Amber Heard. I've heard that Samuel L. Jackson is not the nicest man at all.
Ellen DeGeneres. There's a lot of news coming out about her.
About that. But there's been a few others that, like, it doesn't take, like, you can ignore the actor because they're just an actor playing this role, but sometimes like when you hear that someone's a jerk or an asshole or a bitch or whatever towards their fans and everything, it kind of puts me off a little, you know. Like, I'll still watch them, but it kind of puts me off. But when you actually have people who are really genuine good people like Chadwick Boseman, and a lot of the Marvel people are actually like real genuine people,
except for when Captain America accidentally sends his nudes and releases them to the wild.
I know, right?
I don't know if you heard about that.
No, I did not.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Uh-oh.
Anywho.
Anyways, but it's just Chadwick Boseman seemed like a very genuine guy.
Yes.
I've only ever seen him in Black Panther and Civil War and the Avengers movies.
42, sorry, that's what I was thinking of. Chadwick Boseman played Jackie Robinson in the
Mm-hmm.
movie 42, and it was an incredible performance. It's a great movie. He absolutely killed it. The raw emotion and power that he brings to the role is just absolutely mind-boggling. And to know that he was going through all of that in his personal life and still able to bring himself on screen and really be an American hero on screen, just absolutely incredible person.
Yeah, it's 21 Bridges, this movie I'm thinking about that I want to see. Um, yeah, he's a detective and he's on a citywide manhunt for two young cop killers. That's another movie I want to see of his. He actually, it looked like he helped produce it. Yeah, he helped produce that one. And he was also in
Nice.
Get On Up, which is based on the Godfather of Soul, James Brown, and he plays James Brown. So he played two Jackie Robinson and James Brown.
Yeah.
So those are definitely two movies I'm going to see because like he's I liked him a lot in Black Panther. He just I didn't know I knew a little bit about Black Panther, but when we first saw him in Civil War, and then I researched, of course, before his movie came out, and
Of
he's a
course.
great character.
He's a great character. His story is the story of T'Challa and Black Panther is definitely very different from what a lot of what else Marvel has done throughout the years. I know Jack Kirby was one of the major artists originally for Black Panther, and Kirby always brings his magic to the stories and to building worlds like Wakanda. Stan Lee was the mind behind it, Wakanda, but it really was Jack Kirby who drew it and brought it to life. And it's now what we see on big screens.
Yeah, and I think I've talked to you about this, or I've talked to someone. Um, I know that people always talk about toxic masculinity. I
Mm-hmm.
think that T'Challa is one of those male characters that is just kind of, I
Mm-hmm.
think that T'Challa is one of those male characters that is just kind of, he's not toxic masculinity. He's just very real. And I love him for that because it's just
Mm-hmm.
way more real. Getting male or female characters right without making them seem absurd or anything is always so hard,
Yeah.
whether it's film or TV. T'Challa is one of my favorite male MCU characters, obviously, besides Bucky and Steve, because he's very
Mm-hmm.
real and raw.
With Bucky, you have the stereotypical, like, damaged man. He's been through a lot. With Steve, you have a lot of the righteousness. With
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man, you have the ego. You have
Exactly.
all of these stereotypes, and then you had a character like Black Panther who was able, like you said, to be more well rounded and didn't really strike any of the major stereotypes of what a man is supposed to be.
Yeah. And like he went after Bucky, right, for revenge. But then once he realized he was wrong, he admitted he was wrong. And he was like,
Mm-hmm.
I will not let revenge consume me. Like it's consuming them. I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then he helps Bucky. And then he even offered Killmonger, who had killed him, a chance to live.
Yeah, but
Like
then we got that amazing line of, I'd rather die on my feet than serve on my knees. I mean, that's gonna end up being one of the
that.
most powerful lines in
What
history.
was the exact line? Now I've got to Google it because it was so beautiful.
It was very powerful. Michael B. Jordan just delivered a powerful performance, powerful line, worked very well with
He
Chadwick
said,
Boseman.
why? Yeah. Why? So you can lock me up? Nah. Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who jumped from ships because they knew death was better than bondage. Whoa.
Very powerful.
That was so powerful. I was like, wow. That
Mm-hmm.
has to be one of the most powerful freaking lines ever in MCU.
Yes. Not just
Like,
in MCU and cinematic history.
right? that was beautiful. But no, they worked really well with each other. And like I said, I liked that T'Challa was just like, okay, I was wrong. I'm gonna help your friend because your friend deserves to be helped.
And then they helped him again to become White Wolf, which we haven't really seen on screen yet. We probably will with Bucky and Falcon.
Winter Falcon. That's a
Oh,
shit name. Winter
sorry.
Soldier and Falcon.
Yes, we will probably see more of the White Wolf character in Winter Soldier and Falcon, and he develops that in Wakanda with Shuri's help, with Black Panther's help.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. But then T'Challa, like he loves his dad, right? But then when he finds out what his dad did,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Why didn't you take the kid?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you? Why didn't you take the kid? What in the world?" And like in his eyes, his dad was always so perfect, like.
Yeah.
And then he finds out this, and he has a realization, but he's still like, okay, I love you. You're wrong, but I still love you. And now I'm going to clean up this.
Speaking to T'Challa's character, he could have killed Killmonger at any point, but he wanted to have a proper fight in the way of their kingdom. He wanted it to be correct. Yes, he was challenged by Killmonger, and he really couldn't say no, but he could have absolutely turned around and said, you have no genuine claim to the throne.
T'Challa has a lot of honor.
Yes.
He's very honor and duty bound, which
and pride. He has
and pride.
Hubris.
But I also liked that T'Challa took Killmonger to see was it the sunrise or the sunset?
Sunrise?
Yeah, I think it was the sunrise.
Because it was something his father had spoken about often, was there is no sunrise like the sunrise over Wakanda.
Yeah, something like that. And I just appreciated that T'Challa, because Killmonger had said that to T'Challa, and T'Challa's like, you know what? Let's go. We got this. And again, he still offered, we can heal you. We can save you. And then, that powerful line that you're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
But I appreciated that he still offered, because that's not something that, it's a lot of heroes are all like, okay, you're gonna die. That's the only
like with Captain America and Red Skull. They were just so extreme and so different. They weren't really foils of each other. You had the stereotypical hero and the stereotypical supervillain. But with T'Challa and Killmonger, they were foils of each other. And they were just mirror images. Felt a lot more personal, a lot more real.
Exactly. And I think that's why I liked that movie so much. First of all, that is
I saw it in theaters
movie.
3 times. It was beautiful.
I saw it once. Mom, Paige, and I saw it, and we were like,
I saw it opening weekend. I saw it with one of my college classes, actually. We had been discussing it for media history, and then I saw it again with a different group of friends.
Also, that movie has so much woman empowerment, too.
They were supposed to be a lesbian couple, but they cut it out. That's okay.
Yeah, I heard about that. So much woman power, okay? Churi, Okoye, Nakia. I think that's her name, Nakia?
Nakia, his wife.
Like, so much, and it's just beautiful. My favorite part of that movie.
The Queen. I love her.
Queen, Ramonda.
Yes.
She's wonderful. My favorite part of that movie is when Okoye's husband comes running at her with the rhinoceros.
Yeah.
Okoye steps in front of, I don't know who she steps in front of, and then the rhinoceros just stops and licks her like, hi, Mom.
Yeah. Because he's on the back of the rhino charging towards her. And the rhino is just like, hello. It was so cute.
Hi, Mommy. How's it going?
It was
just like, oh. And then he's like, would you kill me, my love? And Koya's like, for Wakanda? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
she was incredible.
I'm like,
And that scene where she's fighting in the green dress, and it's just, the actress is magnificent. Every character in that movie was just full and very well written.
very well written. And it's just, it was awesome. And
Mhm.
Baku,
Yes. And Baku was a lot. I like how they went about his character, because in the comics he really is like the ape man, and that's his whole persona, and he has his clan. They did a really nice play on it, where it was like the ape was more of a spirit animal to the clan rather
mhm,
than a physical representation.
yeah,
It was more symbolic, which I liked. It was a good comic to movie change that had to happen,
yeah.
just
Because
visually.
I think if they would have done more ape man thing, it could have come off as very wrong,
Well, think
awkward.
about when the comic first came out. That's why. When you have comics coming out in the 70s, 80s, 90s, that's what was being projected. We
Hmm.
You have to think about it in the time when the comics were created. Yes, it was racist. Yes, it was
Oh yeah,
stereotyped, but you have to take it in the context, not forgive it, but take it within the context of when it was created.
yeah. A lot of, and I think that's. I know we've talked about comic books being rebooted, and yeah, it always is. But I think the reason why Marvel and DC reboot and everything is because times change. You know,
Yes.
Marvel and DC didn't have LGBTQ characters for a while until
Hmm. The
things
only one was
changed.
really Deadpool for a while.
Yeah, and even then, that was more. It wasn't. It was more subtle, I
Hmm.
believe, in the beginning of Deadpool. Like he's pansexual, but it was very subtle. But now, I think I don't know when. Probably like late '90s, I believe, is when they actually really started having LGBTQ characters in comic books,
Hmm.
and then when they started
It's
having,
still something the comic book industry struggles with. They struggle with diversity
mm-hmm,
because it was the older white man's game for so long. A lot of the character, I mean, don't get me wrong, Marvel and DC did much better than, say, Disney did or Nickelodeon did. They embraced diversity a lot fuller, a lot earlier, but it's still something the industry struggles with, finding a balance.
yeah, Mom and I were talking about Black Panther earlier today because I was telling her that we were trying to find a topic, and she's like, people struggle with change. She's like, so people
Yes.
see this just one person. They see T'Challa as Black Panther, and that's the only person who can ever be Black Panther. Just like Steve Rogers is the only one who can be Captain America, or Tony Stark is the only one who can be Iron Man. People struggle with change, and she's
Hmm.
like, change is not necessarily a bad thing and be good,
Yes.
but it's just something that people struggle with. Because I was
All right.
telling her, yeah, that how people are wanting to recast Black Panther, recast T'Challa,
There's no
and
reason to recast T'Challa, though.
no. And I
He
said, I was like,
he does unfortunately die at one point in the
mm-hmm,
comics.
yeah. And I told her that it was like, unfortunately, I was like, I was like, I don't think they should recast him at all because it's. I don't think they should recast him. I think they should just stick with what the comic books are. And his sister does become Black Panther, and
Yes.
his sister is amazing. First of all, everyone
The
loved
name of the
her, and
comic series was called Two Panthers, and that's the series where Shuri becomes Black Panther. I looked it up before this.
okay,
I wanted to make
but
sure I got the issue correct.
no, I think that's what they should do. Is they should have Shuri become Black Panther. She becomes Black Panther in the comic books.
Yeah, she does, and she absolutely kicks ass. She does amazing.
Exactly. And she kicked ass in Black Panther.
Hmm.
And she kicks ass in general in the movie that we've seen her in. She's been a very interesting character. I like her. She's awesome.
She's and I know there was a study done of all the major NCU characters, and she's the smartest. That's what the
Hmm.
study found, was of all the human characters, she had the highest IQ, higher than Iron Man, higher than Professor Hulk.
Hmm. And I think in the comic book, there's like this whole list of smart people, and she's one of the smartest. You've got Reed Richards,
Yes, that's who I was
Tony
forgetting.
Stark, Bruce Banner, Shuri. I think even her brother T'Challa is on that list because he's actually really super smart too.
Mm-hmm. Because he's like a military strategist, so it's a different type of intelligence.
Yeah. She's one of the smartest characters, and I think Jane Foster is on that list. Unfortunately, we don't get to see.
Sorry,
that.
I don't like Thor: The Dark World, so when I hear of Natalie Portman as Jane, and I'm just no. Especially now that she's going to be the lead in Love and Thunder.
I still want to give it a chance though, just because I know it actually does happen in the comics, and I've heard she's a
It
badass.
does. But I
So
don't know if
give it a good
Natalie
chance.
Portman can bring that.
I know. We all have
I've
issues
never
with
seen
Natalie
her
Portman.
in a role that I've actually loved.
But I'm going to try to give her a chance because I am interested to see what they do.
But as female Thor,
We will see, okay? We will see.
I didn't like her as Jane, so I don't think I'm gonna like her much more as Thor. I'd rather see her assistant be Thor, or see that
I live and breathe
Tessa
Darcy,
Thompson,
okay?
or see Tessa Thompson be in the role. I'd like to see Valkyrie take up the mantle. I know
Valkyrie is badass.
I know she's running Valhalla, and
Yeah.
that's why she doesn't end up being female Thor. But
Well, not Valhalla. She's running Asgard, the new Asgard.
Asgard, sorry, you're correct. The new Asgard.
The new Asgard. But no, I think Shuri should take back, sorry.
Take up the mantle of Black Panther.
I mean, that's her technology anyways, okay? Let's be real.
However, when she does become Black Panther, because I think if MCU decides not to do this, they're going to have a riot on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't do a one-to-one of her costume from the comics. It's very Halle Berry as Catwoman. It's the full leather, very sexualized. Do we have to have it?
No, we don't need that. Like,
not that she's not beautiful and won't rock it.
She's
That's not what I'm saying.
16.
Yeah, let's not go overboard.
I don't think the actress herself is 16.
Yeah.
Latia Wright, I think that's her name. I don't think she's actually 16, but her character's supposed to be 16. Please don't put a little 16-year-old character
in like bondage leather.
And like a Halle Berry Catwoman bondage shit.
Yeah, she's in like a full black, like super tight leather bodysuit. I like her mask. Her mask looks amazing. But it also doesn't really incorporate vibranium because she's a bit bouncier than her brother. She's more agile. Mm-hmm. I would like to see her costume have vibranium in it as well, so it could take a hit and she could redirect energy similar to he does.
Yeah, I thought that was so freaking cool.
It was, and it made sense. I was watching Because Science and Film Theory, and everyone covered it, and the actual science behind it and redistribution of energy is incredible.
Yeah, I was like, that is so cool. But no, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we will all cry, because you know they will. But for Chadwick Boseman at the beginning of the movie.
We don't even know. They hadn't started filming Black Panther 2 yet.
I don't think I think they had planned on it, and then COVID happened, and then things changed, and now they probably will have to go to the whiteboard and be like, okay, guys, well, what are we going to do?
Yeah, they have to figure out which movie is now coming out when, but they also have to balance the Disney Plus shows.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they're thinking, like, because the last update we received was up to, like, 2026. And I think the last one that they had for the phase was What If? the show
Yeah.
for Disney Plus. That was their
Hmm.
last one. So
Yeah,
obviously everything's been pushed back at least 1 year, if not more.
exactly. Because they halted filming for The Winter Soldier and Falcon. I don't think they
Yes.
even started filming for WandaVision yet,
I
or
think they were
Loki.
actually really deep into WandaVision because
You think so?
WandaVision was going to come out first. I
Okay.
saw a teaser for Loki, but it didn't have a date at the end.
Yeah. So I look forward to all three of those shows. I'm a little bit more excited about Loki and the Winter Soldier and Falcon, obviously.
I felt the same way until I started seeing the previews for WandaVision. It actually looks pretty promising, but I love Scarlet Witch, but the X-Men Scarlet Witch. So it would be cool to see how badass she could become because
Because
the X-Men Scarlet Witch is very overpowered.
she's OP'd. So OP'd. But the
Oh,
thing is, they
absolutely.
finally touched upon that in Avengers Endgame because she could have freaking killed Thanos.
Yeah. When
That's
she
why he
loses it
launched those.
after seeing Vision.
Yeah, that's why he launched those freaking had them launch and shoot at them because he knew she was so close to freaking killing him, and I was like,
Yeah.
finally, jeez, guys, I've been waiting for you to realize how powerful Scarlet Witch is. Okay, I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure she's
And
the
when we
Captain
first
Marvel.
see her, we see the mind games that she could play and the mind games that she does to Iron Man and Captain America. And then it's never discussed again. Like,
Yeah,
but this is obviously going to be a lot more mental. I know a lot of it's in her head. She's using her powers to project how she's getting over Vision, I think, is the story. So I'm very, very excited.
I'm pretty sure that she could give Captain Marvel a run for her money.
I know female empowerment, and I'm so behind it because superheroes are just so male centric. However, I didn't like Captain Marvel. I didn't think Brie Larson really brought it. Again, not I'm not blaming the actress. It was a writing problem too, but I also don't like how they wrote Nick Fury's character in Captain Marvel. I just didn't love it.
I get that. I don't think they made her very likable. It was
Yes.
a little hard to connect to her.
She was
Um,
very cold.
yeah, and I think I
She
actually
was kind
connected
of Kristen
more.
Stewart from
Yeah,
Twilight. That's the vibe I was getting.
yeah. It was actually easy. I actually connected more with her friend,
Yes, I loved her. So
Maria
excited.
Rambo.
Yes, I'm so
I
excited
connected
to
with
see
her
her
more.
daughter because Maria's daughter is actually in like the Captain Marvel universe and is a
Hmm.
hero. So,
Yeah, but yeah, so I connected more with Maria Rambo than I did with Carol Danvers, which is a problem, I think. Like I had
yes.
more connection with her, Maria, and her daughter than I did with the main character.
I feel
Like
like if they, yeah.
I didn't dislike the movie. It was a little hard to connect her because you're right. She did come off and she was a little cold, and there was just I like to be able to connect to my characters, and I just cannot
Hmm.
like connect. But I don't think they knew exactly what they wanted to do with that movie.
Yes. They knew they wanted it to be in the 90s. They knew they wanted all the Easter eggs. The Easter eggs were probably planned out before the script was written. They were basically just setting up the script and what was going to happen. They were introducing the more Centauri, the more alien aspect and shapeshift that'll
Mm-hmm.
be important for the future of the Marvel Cinematic
Yeah,
Universe, especially as we get Doctor Strange 2 and the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It was basically all about setting up Phase 4.
but no, it was a little like I said, very hard to connect to her. Like I couldn't really, and there were points where I could connect. It's been a minute since I've seen the movie, but there were tiny little moments where she was actually kind of adorable in a cute way because she's trying to figure out what's going on, and
Yeah,
and she was kind of sure of herself, but still kind of really confused at the same time. I'm like, oh, okay, and then it was back to being a little cold and a little disconnected.
Like, one
Like,
of my favorite scenes, now, this is one of the few superhero films of any company that I've only seen once. So, I like when she's with the kid and she's playing with her modulator and changing the colors of her costume and trying to impress the kid. And that was a really cute scene that gave me the
yeah,
warm and fuzzies.
yeah, that was cute. And I think if they would have like kind of, had more of that. But I've also heard that Carol Danvers is not a very likable character in the comics. She is apparently an alcoholic. She's
Hmm.
very, very bitchy in the comics. I've read a few things on Screen Rant and Comic Book, but she's not a very well liked character even in the comics.
Okay.
So I think maybe they were trying to not go that route. Maybe they were trying to make her a little bit more likable. They weren't quite sure what to do with her.
I wish they had introduced, if they had to do Captain Marvel's character, I wish, because Captain Marvel isn't the first Captain Marvel. You had
Mm-hmm.
Marvel, you had a whole series of people who came before her. I would
Mm-hmm.
have rather have seen a gender bend of Marvel. And Marvel's character is so fascinating. At one point, he has like a body double, and another point, he's in a dimension and he could only control the body double, and but the body double has his own personality. He's a fascinating character that if you were going to go like the alien route, like what you did with Captain Marvel, do it in a Superman way where it humanizes the character.
Yeah. And the moments when you saw like the memories of her, of Carol and Maria together at the bar,
Mm-hmm.
those were cute. I thought
Yes.
those memories where you actually get to see her before were cute.
Mm-hmm. I understand why they couldn't use her more in the Infinity War saga. I understand because she's too OP. That's fine. They had to get her out of the way. She had to get called off Earth for some mission.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. They had to get her out of the way. I almost wish she hadn't been included at all then, because she takes out a Centauran ship and then leaves. It was just kind
Yeah.
of like, but she's not an Avenger, so I don't know why they were trying to like force her into it. It didn't feel natural.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was like Black Widow that had done something incredible and blown up the Centauran ship, and it would have fit what we know of the characters already. She
Yeah.
felt very shoo-in.
Yeah. She did feel very shoe-in, and I think a lot of people felt that way about her in Endgame, that she just kind of felt very shoe-in. I hope they don't try to shoe-in some random person in like in the Black Panther movie. Like, I hope they don't try to have some random person take up the Black Panther role.
Yeah.
Like, trying to have some faith here, but I just
I
please
don't know.
don't.
I feel like that's a very DC thing to do, so I'm hoping Marvel doesn't make the same mistake.
Yeah,
I would be okay with like Okoye being in the role temporarily. Ultimately, Shuri it should be the next Black Panther. Now, by
definitely.
that logic, Bucky should have been the next captain because that's what happens in the comics. But in this region, Shuri really should be the
Hmm.
next Black Panther. She's the next logical choice.
Yeah.
But if Okoye had to temporarily be in the role, I'd be okay with that as a transition period.
We'll have to see. It'll be, like I said, it will be interesting to see what they do.
I
I hope
know
they
any scene with the Queen Mother is just going to be absolutely heart wrenching because she's a great actress in her own
She's
right.
wonderful.
So I know she's going to absolutely bring it to whatever scene they write because, similar to Spider Man Far From Home, half the movie is going to be expressing the character's grief and how they're managing it. So,
Exactly. And that's what I really liked Far From Home, was because they really expressed Peter's grief at losing
I
Tony.
think they
So
overdid it a touch. It was very shoved in your face. And I didn't like the AC/DC joke that Happy makes where he's looking at Peter and he's seeing like the next Iron Man. I don't like setting up Peter Parker as the next Iron Man. I wasn't in love with how they did that I don't know if that was fully their intention, but that's how it came across. Obviously, Marvel is thinking next stage, next phase.
Yeah, they think that a lot. But no,
But don't jump ahead too quickly. You still have a lot in the moment.
yeah, I think Black Panther will definitely address everyone's grief. I mean, you got
Yes.
Okoye, his sister Shuri, his wife
Yeah.
Nakia, and his mother Ramonda. Like they're all going to be struggling, and honestly, this could be a little.
I mean, there could be another fight among the clans. Like, this is going to cause
Exactly,
the
that's what
clans
I
to
was
be
just gonna say.
divided. They don't have a leader. Regardless
That's what I
of
was
the
about to say.
leader's a king or queen, you're going to have all these factions fighting again.
Hmm. That's what I
How
was just
do,
thinking.
yeah, how do you think that they're going to, this is going to sound cold and I apologize. How do you think they're going to write off the character?
I think they're just gonna have to, because we know T'Challa survived Endgame, right?
Yes.
They will have to come up with some way to say he died during Endgame or something, or after Endgame he
I don't
did
think you
some,
could get away with that.
or instead what they can do is after
Uh,
Endgame when they're all going their separate ways and trying to fix the world, because hello, you just brought back people who have been gone for 5 freaking years.
yeah.
Okay, that's gonna cause a lot of turmoil in the entire world. Okay, right? Just poof, people are back, and you're like, what? Um,
That's kind
and
of addressed in Far From Home, though.
anyways, so they might do something where T'Challa is off, I don't know, cleaning up some bad guys, and they kill him off that way.
I think they're going to end up doing some pretty rough CGI, and they're going to have a body double in the suit,
Yeah.
and it's going to end up being something along those lines where something's going to happen and he was protecting Wakanda. Because remember, Wakanda has open borders now.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be that there's an invasion and he dies protecting his people, which is sort of what happens in the comics anyway, and how Shuri ends up Black Panther because there's an invasion on Wakanda.
And it could be something like that. And that could be, honestly, the movie could start off with him dying.
Yeah, don't give us time. Don't pull a DC. Don't give us a half hour of a body double and CGI when we know that you didn't start filming yet before he passed. Like, don't make it worse. Don't disgrace the character and the actor.
Exactly. And that's why I don't think they should recast him. But in this instance, I just really don't think they should recast. I don't think that would go.
It wouldn't go over well at all, and Marvel knows that. See, that's the difference between Marvel and DC. I feel like Marvel listens a little bit more.
Like I said, what they should do if I was working for Marvel is I would do it where he dies at the beginning of the movie,
Make it quick. Make it
make it quick,
first 10 minutes.
and then the rest of the movie is them trying to figure out what to do because clans are fighting. Who Wakanda needs a Black Panther to hold them up and be there, and who is next Black Panther, and just the struggle of grief.
That means
And
Shuri's gonna have to fight for it. That's how their country works.
exactly,
But I
how
also
is
don't want to see Shuri get beat up. But I also feel like she would bring more of her gadgets into it. It wouldn't be as primal as T'Challa's fights were.
her mama Ramonda going to feel about just losing her son and now her daughter
Yeah.
fighting to get this mantle, because she knows that it would not go well if someone else got it.
Yes.
And how Okoye and Nakia are going to feel, because Okoye and Nakia are going to be like, we got you, Shuri. But they're also struggling with their own grief.
Yeah, because like Okoye says, that is her king. I think it's gonna be rough, but I have faith in Marvel that they're going to do it properly.
I think they're gonna try to make sure they do it properly and honor his memory and not smudge it.
hmm Whereas if it was DC, I'd have slightly less confidence. But we've already discussed my
Yeah.
problems with DC.
Yes, we have.
We'll come back to it, I promise. But
We will.
I don't know. I just hope they don't try to shove in something that doesn't belong. I'd be cool seeing like Winter Soldier or White Wolf as he should be now. I don't like how they continue calling him Winter Soldier. I get it. It's because of they haven't explained White Wolf in the movies yet. But
yeah.
in the comics at this point in his life, he is White Wolf. And a lot of that is because of him training under T'Challa, him working with Shuri to overcome his PTSD and to resonate with himself. I'd be okay with a cameo from White Wolf.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense. It's still within that world. But I don't want them to try to throw in too much of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let it be a contained element. Don't try to overlap it too much.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I hope they don't do that either. They don't need to shove everything in there.
No. Like, we don't need Captain Marvel in Wakanda. Unfortunately, we know we're not going to get Iron Man in Wakanda. Don't put Spider-Man in Wakanda. Although Spider-Man does overlap a little bit Black Panther comics because Shuri works on his Iron Spider suit.
Yeah.
If it's significantly after WandaVision, now Marvel has not been mixing their TV shows with the in theater MCU. So whatever happens in like WandaVision or Winter Soldier and Falcon or Loki isn't going to impact what's going to happen on the big screens. Or they're going to have as little overlap as possible. Because that's what we've seen with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, etc.
I wish there was more overlap, personally.
Yeah, but not everyone watches the shows, watches the movies, and vice versa.
Yeah, like not a lot, just like a little smidge more.
Especially Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know you haven't seen it yet, but in that show, their season takes place right after each of the major films. So they're constantly talking about whatever happened with the Avengers. They're constantly talking about New York being destroyed. Little things like that. They do things that really should be impacting the MCU at large. Whereas like Jessica Jones, she's pretty contained. Luke Cage, he's contained. Their stories don't really impact the world at large, but in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it does.
Yeah, and I think that's why those Netflix Marvel shows work, is because they don't impact the world at large. They're still a part of it. Like, I mean, in Jessica Jones, some woman's yelling at Jessica saying, being all hateful because Jessica's superpowered. And she's like, why don't you go talk about the green guy and the guy wearing the flag, okay? I had nothing to do with what happened in New York. That was not me.
Mm-hmm.
I was on vacation. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
You know, because she was facing discriminatory comments about being powered because of what happened in the Avengers movie.
Yeah. So it's things like that. Otherwise, I would say that WandaVision could very well have crossed over into Black Panther, but like I said, I don't think we're going to see anything really cross over from the shows. Because it was Shuri and Tony that put Vision back together, or rather took him apart. He justifiably could be. I'm really worried about crossovers.
I think they do it like if they need to do it very thoughtfully.
Yes. Like, what the hell would Bruce Banner be doing in Wakanda?
No,
Research,
but like if it was,
I guess.
I know if it was Bucky, I'd be okay with that. Same with Martin.
Well, because it's canon. That's why.
Yeah. Same with Martin's character, Everett Ross.
I hate
Bilbo.
I know. I know who you're talking about. Great actor, poorly
I like his
written role.
character. I liked his character better in Black Panther. Like if they brought him into it,
Yes.
I'd be okay. Black Panther, he's so much better and he's funnier. And I was like,
Yes.
I
I feel like
appreciate
they
it.
really let Martin Freeman just kind of be himself.
Yeah, and then in Civil War, he just did not. I didn't like him. But then when he came
He
back in
was
Black
too
Panther,
Rick Flag. Like he had to
yeah,
stick up his ass.
yeah. But no, I'd be okay with him coming back because
Mhm.
he helped them in Black Panther. He didn't have to, but he did.
Right.
So I'd be okay with that if he came to honor.
And then Shuri saves his life.
Yeah, and he saves theirs because
Yeah.
he's flying and saving the car, making sure the ships don't leave with that cargo.
hmm
But
I'm sure Nick Fury is going to show up at one point or the other.
I don't know why.
I, you know, it's become a thing now, or maybe they're going to incorporate the scroll and it'll be transformed version of Nick Fury because we know Fury's in space. There's just a lot that there's a lot of avenues. They have a lot of big decisions to make.
So, and it'll be a while until we see what happens, but I'm sure they will give us updates.
I don't know. I think they're going to keep this one close to their chest. I don't
But
think they're going to reveal too much because they want you to be surprised and feel grief. Like at the end of Infinity War, you didn't, unless you read the comics, you didn't know that half of the Avengers were going to die. Like that's just not something that you knew. Or at the end of Endgame, you didn't know about Black Widow and Iron Man, or that Captain America goes back. That's not something that you anticipated. They kept it close to their chest.
sorry, Captain America going back still really bothers me, and we're just have to
It
dedicate an
causes that
episode.
whole. We'll have to dedicate an episode to the whole time heist
Yes,
because
because it
I have
bothers me.
issues.
I have issues too.
There,
I have drawn a map. I have drawn
it doesn't work.
a diagram to explain this to one of my friends of why this doesn't work. And I'll have
Yes,
to draw it again and just show it on the screen when we talk about that.
it does not work. I'd like to see more of the international politics. We get it a little bit in Civil War when we see T'Challa's father. Oh, kicked my table. When we see T'Challa's father being the diplomat. I would like to see that a little bit more now that the world knows that Wakanda's been hoarding vibranium. I
Yeah.
want to see more trading. I want to see the economic impact of that because that actually happens in real life when countries find oil or a valuable resource that was previously more expensive due to being available in limited quantities, but now it's more like the diamond market where it's kind of falsely created because it's not like there's a lack of diamonds that drives up the price of, say, wedding rings. No, it's the fact that they're only released a little bit at a time, which drives up the price. So it's been the same thing with vibranium.
Yeah. I want to see, because we know that T'Challa got dusted, right? And so did Shuri. They both got dusted.
Correct.
So I want to know, like, they don't need to give us everything. I just want to know, how did that affect Wakanda? Like, what, who took care of Wakanda? Who was Black Widow's contact in Wakanda? I know it was a Okoye. How did Wakanda address the dusting and then that 5 years
I
and
feel like
then
it
when
wasn't
those
really
people left?
impacted. Like, of
Like,
course it was impacted, but I feel like they made such a big deal out of it in Spider-Man Far From Home because it was kids. So it's like, how do you deal with high school when half of them have already graduated and half of them are now 5 years younger? So
that'd be so weird.
it was very weird. But I feel like with the way Wakanda has been built in the universe, I feel like it wouldn't have had as much of an impact.
How did they address when T'Challa and Shuri got back? But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
in that 5 years, they could definitely have come up with a story that Wakanda was invaded, and now that T'Challa is back from being dusted, he has to protect his home. They could incorporate that 5 year gap. I see what you're going for.
Yeah, but it will be interesting.
There really isn't much about it in the comics, so Marvel has a lot of free reign here. Like with, you know, Infinity Wars and Endgame, that was based off of the Gauntlet series. So they had kind of a stepping stone and a guide. They deviated from it where they wanted to, but they still ultimately knew where they were going to end up because it doesn't misalign with the comics that much. But nothing like this has ever really happened in the Black Panther universe, so they have a lot of room to play with this. I don't know what exactly they're going to do, but it'll probably be amazing.
Yeah.
And make us cry.
Thanks, y'all, for listening. Again, our thoughts and everything are with Chadwick Boseman's family. We are sincerely sorry for your loss, and just know that we're all thinking about you. And thank you for listening to us talk about Black Panther and what the future holds for that movie and the character of T'Challa. We're Disturbed Nerds, and we will see you next time. Or you can listen to us next time.
Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for listening.
Ciao.
Bye.